Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. We will call this subcommittee meeting to order. We are going to try to move quickly today, just so y'all know. I know we've got lots of meetings and things stacked up, so somebody asked if we would be done before we go into session. The answer is yes. Lunch is between now and then, so we'll get everybody out. We've got 6 speakers this morning, so if you will come to the podium, we'll turn that on and get rolling. First up, Ms. Lanier from TRS, if you will come and join us and speak to a few items, please.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the committee.
Pull that microphone down.
There you go.
There we go.
That better? Okay.
And if you can just tell us which section
we're
we'll
on
start
section 45.1 on the tracking sheet. I think you have the biggest budget. Come up here first, right? So we receive a very small appropriated amount of funds for local system retirees that covers their floor and COLA funds. At this time, we have 4 individuals remaining that are covered by that provision. The total amount of our appropriated funds is $62,000. We don't have any changes to go over, so be glad to answer any questions.
Would you just explain, just for me and the members of the committee, how we have 4, why it's 4, what makes
Well,
them?
this represents a very elderly population at this point. They were members of local retirement systems that became a part of the teachers' retirement system many years ago. And so the state funds we receive are to cover a minimum amount of retirement benefit for them, as well as their cost of living increases for each year. So,
okay. Thank you. Just always like to know what it's for.
Yeah, that is interesting. There used to be many more, but unfortunately, that's all that remain under those provisions.
Understood. Seeing no other questions, I appreciate that.
All right,
Thanks for being here to answer those questions.
You're welcome.
Next up from ERS, Director Potvin, if you will, please join us. And again, just tell us which section we are going to join you in.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. We're in section 25.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I have 2 items that are changes from the preliminary budget that was passed last year. 25.3 is by far the larger of the 2. In the public school employees retirement system, the actuarially determined contribution increased by about $4.1 million from last year to this year, based on the results of the latest actuarial evaluation. In section 25.4, there was a small bill that had funding placed in it in anticipation of passage. However, that bill did not pass, so that's the $6,000 coming out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
$27.11. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. A real quick add here at line 1751. If you recall, in FY25 amended, there was $160,000 for SREB, and for the crisis management planning for public safety or natural disasters. This $10,000 is an annualized amount to continue that program.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Barrow.
Good morning, Chairman Dumick and Vice Chair Wade and other committee members. Y'all are going so fast, I'll slow down just a second here. So but then I'll catch up for sure. I am Joseph Jody Barrow. I'm the newly appointed Executive Secretary for the Georgia Professional Standards Commission. I know I don't look like Matt Arthur, and y'all are thankful for that. I appreciate the opportunity to address the committee. Just after 1 month of being in this office, I'm have even greater respect for the organization and for the commissioners that we work with. As you may know, the Professional Standards Commission is a partnering organization, and we are tasked with the responsibility to direct the preparation and recognize and recruit Georgia educators to enforce standards, and also with ethics. Our agency is made up of 74 employees, and we're a very lean organization. Getting to the budget picture, I am on section 27, page 10, and our FY26 budget proposal is flat. In fact, comparing it to the FY25 budget, we're actually requesting $476 less than we did last year. That's because of some insurance adjustments by the Department of Administrative Services. Our total task for the state funding is $8,730,214, and you'll see that there in the budget. We continue to work at our review our workflow issues regarding personnel, and may ask that we can revisit that maybe in the amended FY26 budget. But unless you have any questions, I want to thank you in advance for your continued support of the Professional Standards Commission.
Yes, sir. Seeing no questions.
Good.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacobs. I think we can flip back to page 1.
Good morning. So our first change is 22.1.2. And this is an addition of $1.5 million to annualize the state match for our CAPS reimbursement program, which allows us to go to the 60th percentile of the market rate for child care providers. So just to explain this briefly, last year about $9 million was at last session. For this year, about $9 million was added in state funds for us to increase our reimbursement rate to the 60th percentile, but we only requested 9 months of funding since that rate would not start until October. And so this is just annualizing that cost from last year, or from last session for this year. And then 22.1.3 is an addition of $3.9 million to add 500 slots to our CAPS program. Again, CAPS is our child care subsidy program, which helps pay a portion of the cost for low-income working families for their child care cost. And our next changes are in the pre-kindergarten program, 22.3.4. The first one is an addition of $5.2 million for the annual update for training and experience. Just like you'll see for K-12, our pre-K teachers are on the T&E scale. The next item is 22.3.5, which is an increase in the health insurance premiums, the per member per month rate increased, and that's an addition of $1.2 million. And then our last item is 22.3.6, and this is the second year of a 4-year phase-in for us to reduce the class size from 22 to 20. And these additional dollars allow us to add about 93 classrooms this year, which we added 100 last year, and we'll add 100 this upcoming year. And those are all of our changes.
Vice Chairman Wade.
Just to clarify, on 22.3.5, what is the amount of the increase from that prior year, the new 1885?
I think it's 15, I don't know. Thank you.
17. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I honestly did not know the answer to that.
That's why we have her here. All right. Anything else? That's all we have.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Rome, you can come up and join us and back clean up here. To the members of the committee, I've asked the superintendent. We're very happy that he's here with us today. I've asked him if he'd like to say a couple of words and address those in the audience and in the room here.
Again, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Again, I want to thank you for your service to our state, and then more importantly to our 1.7 million kids and over 400,000 individuals that serve in some capacity to our schools within our schools throughout the state. Again, we just want to say thank you again for fully funding QBE over the past several years. So we are very appreciative of that, and I think we've been very good stewards of that money. Again, we asked for your continued consideration. We look forward to seeing that again, as Governor Kemp has issued, or at least stated in his budget, that QBE is once again going to be fully funded. But I'm going to turn this over to Russ, because if you ask me anything about the budget, I'm going to ask Russ. So again, into his capable hands as our CFO. So again, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for being here.
Sure.
Thank you, Chairman. We start on section 24.1. I won't go through every change because we got a number of them, but I'll try to hit the high number ones, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer that. First major change is 24.2.4. This is just a reduction of $200,000 for one-time funding that we had to make some adjustments to our COPS program, mainly around the pre-K capital outlay bill that was passed in Senate Bill 233. Next is in the charter schools, 24.4.5. This is a transfer of funds to the State Charter School Commission. This is similar to the amended budget of $265,000. This is for 2 positions that are transferring to handle that work over there. In 24.5.1, we have another $1 million. This is a one-time state funds addition to the Communities and Schools program that was part of a matching program with a vendor that matched the program to, so those funds are no longer needed. 24.7.1, this is a $339,799 add. Last year's funding did not provide supplements for a literacy lead in every elementary school. This amount just kind of shores that number up so that we can provide a literacy lead supplement in each of our elementary schools. 24.11.4, you'll see an addition of a little over $3 million. This is to increase the funds to sustain the 400 megabytes of bandwidth that we provide to our local districts through PeachNet. This was pre-COVID around 100 megs. After COVID, we've been utilizing ESSER federal dollars for the last 4 years. Those dollars run out in 25, and so we have asked for districts to be able to continue to use the 400 meg internet. Next is 24.12.7. This is another one-time grant that we're removing for $362,000 for some CPR training and equipment for students. That was a one-time cost. 24.13.3, you'll see a reduction of about $3 million for school nutrition, formula increase. One thing I'd like to note on that is based on some 23-24 counts. We will get, the numbers will change at the end of this school year, so we're not sure if that cut is left in there, if we'll be able to have to come back next year and ask an amended budget for it to be put back. So that's something to consider. 24.15.1, this is an increase in pupil transportation for a little over $10 million. This is for the updated bus counts, which I think many of you know we updated the surveys and stuff, I think, last year. So this is part of that, those updated bus counts and operating expenses. In our QBE program, as I said, in the amended budget, we had a 0.08% increase in FTEs. However, most of those increases, we saw decreases in a lot of the regular programs, but we did see increases in the special ed gifted ESOL programs, which is why you see some of these increases, such as the growth in T&E of $305 million. Your state charter school supplement of $34 million. I would note the 24.18.8, this is a $172 million increase. This is similar to early care and learning, the per member per month increase to the $1885 from $1760 for the health insurance cost. You'll see that sprinkled out through some of our other departments that we actually fund some of the teachers, but this was by far the big number. Also, you'll see 24.18.9. This is to fully fund the school psychologist ratio. at a 1 to 2420. It's a little over about $872,000. I believe that is what is in law in House Bill 283, and we were funding it at about 21 to 2475. In the State Charter School Administration, that's 23.1. That's similar to the amended as well. That's the State Charter School Commission accepting the two positions funding of the $265,000 and an additional $120,000. In 24.25.5, you'll see provide funds of $383,000. This is for our Great Promise Partnership, which is a part of a work-based learning for at-risk students. And 24.25.6, this provides funds to establish high-demand equipment grant for new and expanding career and technical education labs. This is about $1.25 million. And that is the major changes in our budget. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Wade.
Just a question. I've got a lot of folks in my community that have been asking me this. As it relates to 24.18.9, the funding the school psychology ratio, 100% support that. How many vacancies do we have statewide? Because I know in some of the areas, the positions are there. It sounds like we're going to be increasing some funding to cover that. And if you don't know that information, I'd love to have that statewide data, so I'm not just going off anecdotes.
I think we have the number of psychologists. Do we have vacancies? We can get that for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
If you would, please get that to Floor Leader Wade,
Yes, sir.
Vice Chairman Wade, so he can disseminate that to the committee. Chairman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 3 quick clarifications, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
24.7.1, I know that's incremental on the 330. Do you have a sense what the total cost is for that program? I'm a big fan, obviously, for literacy, but I'm just trying to get the scope of that.
Do you have the literacy,
Do you have that?
the total cost of the literacy
$1
program?
million? For the supplement? Okay.
That's the shortfall.
That's the shortfall of the
Yeah, the
supplement?
330.
Okay. On 24.11.4, love the fact that we're moving 400. Hopefully one day we'll get the whole gig there. But again, can you get us what the total program is costing us? I know that's an incremental 3, Matt, but if we could get the whole program, I sure would appreciate it. And then finally, hold on. On 24.25.6, I know that we approved, I want to say, was it 4 years ago, the heavy equipment simulators? Was that correct? If a few years ago, maybe. Could we get, could you provide to Chairman Dubnik basically everything that has been invested in that particular program, including what we think the 125 will go to? Okay, thank you.
And if I could, I think just to that point, you have 3 members of the committee present. We're all asking questions about 24.11.4. I'd really like to understand more, to Chairman Jones' point. What exactly are we getting for that? Why is the investment there? What's the total investment? Who's utilizing it? Who's not? Is not implying anything. Is there a better option? I mean, to Chairman Jones's point, I know we can't just put gig Ethernet everywhere we want to, but
Yes, we can provide that. We have very extensive data.
yeah,
on
if you could just dig in and get, Matt, if you could work with me, please, just to get that information so we can look and discuss. Any other questions? Seeing none. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Superintendent, thank you again for being here. Russ, thank you for being here. As promised, 21 minutes. So with that, we will stand adjourned. Thank you so much.